Hi, now I am going to show you a power analysis feature in this oscilloscope. So, what I have here a generation board that generates switching voltage and switching current. In channel 1 I have switching voltage, in channel 2 I have switching current. So I can acquire as much data I want. So these are number of cycles that it can switch and so on and so forth. Now I could even increase the sampling rate for acquiring high resolution current and voltage waveforms. Now I'm going to employ the power analysis feature. As you see here, you look at the device, control loop, line power, performance, and in device we have losses, safe operating area, BH curve, RDS on, dV by dt and DI by dt. And on control loop we have closed loop analysis. In line power we have power of measured parameters and the harmonics, and performance is efficiency and ripple. So let's start with device. So once you switch on the device, you could either add a standard probe or you could add a differential probe. We also have a three-phase power analysis. We have 8 channels here, so we have voltage 1, voltage 2, voltage 3 and voltage 4, which means you get R, Y, B voltage and current. You can also add a DC voltage and DC current, which gives you a kind of efficiency of the drive, is a DC drive. So you have a DC input, DC voltage, DC current, R, Y and B. So R voltage current, Y voltage current and B voltage current. So right now I have a single phase network, and basically now we are looking at certain switching of, say for example, a MOSFET or a gallium nitride or a silicon carbide or a IGBT, so on and so forth. Now I have a simulation of such thing. We look at, I am just enabling the features that looks into decode of voltage, current and okay, so you see here we have, if you look at the features of this voltage, current, and now we have a third one, which is the power. We'll be able to see all these in clarity. So let me zoom in and show you. Okay. So if you see here, I am going to take just one cycle into consideration. So let's say once it goes off, this is the conduction. We are looking into the loss. This is the cycle, is the conduction, and okay, let me stop it. So this is a conduction, and this is the off state, and this is a cycle off state, and this is the cycle on state, and here we have cycle on state again, and then we have a conduction. So it's basically a roll off. It's a conduction off state, on state, conduction off state, on state, conduction. So that way you're looking at various power cycles. Each and every power cycles can now be again looked at here. This is a voltage, current, and now this is a power. You look at the power, here you have conduction, and this is your off state, and this is the cycle off state, and again you have a cycle conduction. So this repeats over and over again. And when we look at the cycle per cycle reflection, now what you have here is, there's a turn on loss of 2 milliwatt, there's a conduction loss of approximately 200 milliwatt. There is a turn off loss at about 7 to 8 to 10 milliwatt. Then the off state is about 263 milliwatt. So all zones have a loss of 483 milliwatts. So when we look at total losses, the value and the mean value, you get a standard deviation, and therefore you achieve a certain power, and these are the losses that the switching device is having, and you'll be able to see those losses and measure those losses and minimize those losses depending on how you would like to employ your device. And As we go through the losses, here I have, you have seen the waveform how we look at it. So you can also look at the safe operating area. You have a safe operating area. This safe operating area will give you an idea as to how your safe operating area is. So this safe operating area of a device will give you an idea as to how much you could load the device to its maximum or minimum or average area where you could leverage the best performance of this device. And similarly, we have a BH curve. This BH curve is basically for a transformer, the instrument transformer kind of thing. You need to give in a lot of, you need to give in the, you can also see a flux density. You can have a field strength. So this is a field strength, this is a flux density, this is a BH curve, and you need to give in the number of windings and the number of cross sections and the magnetic path length. So once you give in this data, you'll get an accurate BH curve and its functionality. And you have this RDS on. This RDS on is basically for you to look at your return path or return current path, and RDS on you could see. Next is the dV by dt. So dV by dt, you get two functions that you could see over a period of time. So how it functions on dV by dt, and this is di by dt. These two are functions of you can enhance this bit value a little more so that you get a higher resolution. Okay. So next we look at the control loop. The control loop is for programming any SMPS kind of thing. You have a voltage cycle and you have a current cycle. So depending, you can program this control loop to see a feedback depending on the current that is drawn. So if there on a SMPS circuit, you could look at a loop where the current drawn is either less or more depending on the load. So you could program the control loop for giving a feedback to the circuit as to see whether you need a higher current or a lower current. So this is a test of that, and your operator can be either width, pulse width, or duty cycle, or period, or frequency. You can have any of these operators. And this is the device power. So now we are getting into line power. So line power is basically for device power. You can look at, this is like a load test. So here we have, again this is a voltage, current, and power. You have VRMS, IRMS, reactive power, apparent power, power factor, and real power. So here you have various, for instance, we are looking at the power of a device. So it is 1.91 volts and 1.80 amps, and you have a VAR of 2.27 and real power of 482 milliwatt, and so on and so forth. You can look at the real power at this, and we are looking at harmonics. Now, you can also take a look at a total harmonics distortion. Here, harmonics again is divided into class A, B, C, and D. This is for the commercial class of power. Either you can use a 50 Hertz or a 60 Hertz, or the user defined. You can use your own sync for power. Right now we are going to use the measured frequency. Here the measured frequency is about 89 to 90 kilohertz. That's the switching frequency of this device. At that levels, you have the THD of 62% mean value, and you are also getting a harmonics as well as power. Here we have a proper power setting here as well as harmonics. Harmonics now you could see is very high compared to, the harmonic frequency is mentioned, and you get whether it's a pass or a fail. So apparently all is passed at class A. So there's a class B. You can see harmonics level here, class C and a class D. So depending on how you look at it, you can get it. So this is a harmonic graph as well. You can get a better harmonic graph here. Well, now coming back to performance, we're looking at efficiency. Now this is your efficiency trend. So what we have here is just an input. We need to have an input as well as an output for it to measure input over output efficiency. You get an efficiency trend which gives you from 0 to 100%, and this trend will be able to tell you what is the efficiency of your circuit. Here we are not really looking at efficiency. I need to have two more probes for that. Next we go for is anyway we are giving you the input power is 483 milliwatt, and the output power is 0 watt because this is not connected. So the efficiency is 0%. So if there is a power here, you will be able to measure the efficiency and the trend of that depending on the load. Okay, now we are going in for a ripple. So okay, so we have a ripple that gives you